Hey garden friends, I'm out here getting ready to keep on pruning back my Eden rose so I can dig it up. And then I will plant a new rose here in its spot. I've been waiting, I should say. I hate cutting it all off because of the beautiful roses that are coming, but I can go ahead and put them in a vase and go ahead and enjoy them. But I do want to get this done. I have a few other roses I need to get planted, so I need to get on it before we really start getting into cold weather. That way, the new rose that I'm putting here, it's quite small, will have an opportunity to put down really good roots before winter weather, and next spring and summer, it should be gorgeous here. So, I'm gonna get to pruning. Now, yeah, I should get myself a container of water so I can put these in the house and enjoy them for a little while longer. So here is my enamelware pitcher, which will work perfect. I almost grabbed something glass, and I thought, no, that's probably not the wisest choice. So I grabbed the enamelware. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this rose off. I already started on this day before yesterday, and so that's why down here the canes are bare. Now sometimes I don't have time to tackle a project all at once, so I have to give it a few days and work on it as I can. So yeah, I might not even finish today. I may have to stop. I have an appointment. Well, in about an hour and a half I have to get ready to go. So I don't rush things. I want to enjoy this, so therefore I give myself grace to spend the time that it needs to get it done. Well, that didn't work. Dumped it right into the dirt. Okay, let's see what I am doing. Okay, now that rose is cut off, I'll cut this back to the main cane. And I may probably, for these big canes, because I will cut these down probably to 18 inches or so, I'll have to get my loppers, my big pruners, because this wouldn't just cut through all of it. Now I'm being careful of where I step, because there are plants down here that I don't necessarily want to damage. I'm just cutting the leaves off of the roses as I go before putting them in my enamelware pitcher. Actually, this pitcher I got as a painting still life feature that I could put flowers in to paint, and I liked it. Let's see. Now this over here is actually my Albertine. I could use this time to also prune it back a little bit. It's just gotten really hairy. Now with ramblers, many times they bloom on old wood, so you've got to be a little judicious about pruning them. Now I'm not sure. Some ramblers will bloom on new wood and some only on old wood, and I'm not certain about Albertine, but it definitely has gone wild and I cannot keep all of the canes. So just take your time, pick out what you want to keep and what you don't. Now, the Albertine, they will put out laterals as well. So early on, especially if I prune it now. Okay, this is the Albertine over here, following that up. And that is it over there. It goes over there. Okay. It's probably very confusing to you because you can't see what I can see. But the Albertine is coming this way and I just want it to go over. With ramblers and climbers, you want to put them at a 45-degree angle to send out the laterals, which have the blooms on the ends. But sometimes when you have one that is so rambunctious like this Albertine is, I could leave it to be the only rose on here, but then I would only have early June blooms. I wouldn't have any coming this late in the season like I do with the Eden. So Yeah, I think I'll go get my big loppers and I'll cut these canes off, and then I can just pull it down and I can see which ones are which, because they're starting to cross each other, the Albertine and the Eden. And yeah, I could pull that down through. And that would help open it up and I could see what I'm doing a little bit better. Hopefully the glare on my glasses isn't bugging you. All right, let me go get my loppers. And while I'm at it, I will take this pile and take it to the burn pile so that it's not here tripping me up all the time. All right, let's get down here and just cut this off. Can you see down here? Well, just trust me. I am about 2 feet from the ground, and I'm going to, here's a spot with no mini thorns, but that's a big old whopping cane. Now this Eden is perfectly healthy, and I'm only moving it because I want something different here. It was not supposed to be Eden. I had my container mismarked, and yeah. So this is a clematis, Charlie Brown clematis. So I'll put that over there. I don't really, well, I see where it kind of snapped. Now, one thing about clematis is their stems get very brittle and you have to be careful, but that's okay. It will come back as it should. Okay, so that piece up there, let's see if I can push it over and then pull it from here. Okay, this part doesn't have any thorns, so I'm safe. And that flower's falling apart, so, well, maybe part of it isn't. I will salvage one bloom. That one has fallen off or faded away, and then this part looks like it's in decent shape. Might last a day or two to enjoy. Alrighty. I need this on a big old fence. Okay, so let's see what this piece is too. All right, cut that down. That one's got a lot of damage on the cane, so I might even just cut it off all the way to the ground once I get it out. We'll see what I feel I need to do. Ouch, very prickly. Okay. And then this piece. And that is all of the Eden. Wow, that Albertine is covering much more of it than I realized. Alrighty, I'm gonna have to decide how much of the Albertine I want going this way. I think, I'll just judiciously pull out a few of them, because one thing about it is it usually blooms earlier than many of the other roses. And the first year, the rainy blue may not bloom as thickly, but it would bloom later. It may bloom at the same time. I'm not familiar with rainy blue's habits, but over here where the Albertine would kind of crowd out the rainy blue, I'm gonna prune it back where it's just, most of it is going back and forth, but some of it you see is actually coming all the way over, like this big cane here. I'm gonna take that out. And these ones that go over the top, I'm gonna have to remove those because snow would be caught by them on the arbor rather than falling through the arbor, and it could warp or bend over the arbor. We've had that happen before because we have really wet, heavy snows. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna prune out this one that's going too far that way. I'm just gonna cut it in increments because I can tell it's gonna be gnarly. One, very thick canes, very healthy. These roses have loved it here. Okay, now what is that caught on? Yeah, just take your time, cut out as needed, and don't overthink it. It can get quite confusing at times, but if you take your time, you can do it right. Well, this one, cane's going this way, and then there's a lateral just shooting straight back and then up. That was kind of confusing me, so I cut that off. Again, Charlie Brown needs to be cut back a little bit. It's okay, it will grow back. I know some of it's further up, but it all has bloomed and not gone to seed. Some of them, yeah, see, it has little seed heads on it. So, trying to see what this is catching on. Okay. Now, one thing about it, if I don't pull out all of them, the pieces yet, because I'm confused by all what's on here, they will turn brown, and I can pull them out later, even if I have to cut them in smaller increments to get them to turn loose. I think Charlie Brown is a pruning type 3, but I don't know for sure, so it wouldn't hurt to prune it to the ground. Okay. Yeah, this one right here looks like it can come out. Yeah, one thing I bought Charlie Brown clematis for was it's supposed to keep on blooming, and it has. You can see by all the seed heads that are on it, all the new growth, but a lot of times it was hidden by the thickness of the rose here. So, yeah, I'm hoping my rainy blue is just as vigorous here. All right, you see this one coming this far over? I don't want it to do that. So that's the Albertine. I'm going to get my pruners and take it off right there. All right. Okay, this needs to come out. I'm going to have to cut it in increments. Get your workout. Okay. One thing about it, the roses on this side are going to get a little bit more sun because the way the sun comes slanting at this time of year, these rose canes, so thick on this side, have been shading them. I'm probably going to go into shock saying, wow, didn't realize I needed any more sun. Okay. Oh, I can't really reach that. I'll have to go around. This one. Now, if you're not into all of this, you can speed it up. Because we will get to the digging up of the next part. Let's see if I can get this out of here without... Let me do it from this side. Good thing I took the one pile. Now I got a big pile again. Okay. Oh, that's right, tied it, so I need to untie it. Okay. Okay, that thing is just unbelievably full of side shoots. Okay. I think I got the majority of it done. All right. I will haul this pile off and I will get to the digging. Alrighty, try to get this so as you can see it a little more close up. And you can see there's a cage around it. And I have an irrigation pipe here. Now I've had people ask me about my watering of perennials in my garden, etc. So I need to do a blog post and video on that soon. Now right here is also an iris. I can dig that up, but I'm going to try and just dig this up with my little shovel by digging around it. I'm not sure how deep this cage goes and if the rose itself has put down a huge taproot, which they will. And yeah, I need to get that. So trying to get in here delicately without harming anything else is tricky. Should be interesting to see how well this cage worked. I have the other cages that are like a mesh fabric, and I'm just not sure about them since it doesn't seem like the taproot could go through. I'm hoping I'm not going to break my shovel. This is my favorite shovel. Definitely need to remove this iris. It's okay. I can put it back if I want it right here. That is my golden feverfew. I can replant that too. Okay, put that over there. Yeah. Oops. Almost grabbed the thorny part. Okay, let's see. Oops, my cage is breaking apart. But some of the big taproots have been able to go through this hardware cloth. So that's gratifying. See, when they can put down those deep roots, then they can survive on less water, etc. Pull up nutrients. Boy, I got some taproots going the other way. Good workout. Deep breath. Now, let's see. I may have to get my pruners down there and cut that one taproot. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Now, the only thing with leaving root in the ground is it can sprout up a new rose from that root. Let's see if that's enough. Okay. There we go. Now, cutting off that root's not going to hurt it. It will just put out new. And that kind of makes it easier to fit into a pot. And see, like this one is caught in the mesh. So I will have to cut it off anyways, because there's no way I'm pulling that through. There. Hopefully my heavy breathing's not bothering you. But you can see how that's caught in there. All right, that's my dig up. Let's see. I'm just gonna see if I can dig up more of that. Oh, we got some bulbs in here. Okay. Wow, that was really putting out a lot of deep roots. Okay, I'm just gonna have to keep cutting off any new roses that might come up. Sorry, worm, Mr. Worm, put all the bulbs back. That might be the tulips that the gophers haven't eaten. I would decide to do this on a hotter than usual day, but yeah, you see how that has little canes or little things coming out from here. I'm just going to cut those off. And it's clean, and I wanted to share with you see this cane? How it has some dark splits, etc. That's not healthy. So I'm going to cut those off with my pruners, my big loppers, right down to where it meets the other cane. Ouch. So you probably, I don't know that you can see me, but there it is. And then here's the piece that I cut off. So all this new fresh growth will be healthier and better suited to get going. Still haven't decided what I'm going to do with this. I may just give it away, or I may find a spot for it that needs a rose. But actually, I'm really into trying new roses, so taking up a spot for one that I already have isn't kind of my plan, so probably we'll give it away. Alrighty, now for the planting up, friends. Let's see. I have about, up to here in the pot with soil, potting soil. Actually, it's compost, but it works for potting soil. And I'm gonna see if my roots, the bottom end of my rose will fit. Yes, it does fit. If it hadn't, I would have just cut back what was in the way of letting it fit. So, oops, spider. Anyways, so now I'm going to fill it in with more potting soil. And I probably will need to get some more. And I want to kind of center this as best as I can so it has soil all the way around the roots. This is just a regular potting soil, organic potting soil. This one is called Edna's Best, but any organic potting soil will work. I don't use potting soils that have a synthetic fertilizer added to it. Yeah, that's just my way of doing things. All right, I'm gonna get some more soil. I'll be right back. So now I'm just finishing filling it up with more potting soil. This is a fresh bag. Now, if I had my organic compost that I buy at a local turkey ranch, that's what I would be using, but I'm out. So I like to buy the Edna's Best at my local garden center. It's by E.B. Stone. And yeah, so. And with my compost, a lot of times I'll add some perlite to it if it needs some loosening up, but many times it doesn't. Okay, so now I'm gonna water it in. Now, if I had more of my root stimulant, I would use it with it, but I'm out, so I need to get some more of that. But, you know, it can root or put down new roots. Without it, it just helps a lot to get it going again and to help with the transplant shock. And you know, by digging up like this, you're putting it in shock. But it'll be fine here. Now, the water's running through. I'm gonna let it get to about that deep in here so that it can absorb it up, because the soil is not completely moistened. The water will run through, but it needs to soak it back up to really, really moisten it. Now, the little spots that I made from the water compressing it down, I will fill just with a little bit more. Now, I want a little bit of a lip around here so when I water it, it doesn't run off automatically. It will catch it and then filter it down into the soil. So there we go. We've got that all planted. Now, this is an own root rose. It is not a grafted rose, so you don't have to worry about burying the graft or anything if it's cold weather. If you have super duper cold, you could bury it a little bit deeper, but it doesn't matter. It's going to come back from the roots, and it's going to come back the right rose. It's not going to come back the root graft, meaning usually it's Dr. Huey, or there's another one too that they graft onto because of the vigor of those roses. But all of mine, or the majority of my roses, are own root, and I prefer it, and they are just as vigorous for me. So that's why I buy own root only, as well as we have some really weird freezes sometimes, and many of my grafted roses got froze really hard one year, and I lost them. I lost 70 roses in 1 year from that freak freeze. And what happened was, it was like October, we were having 80-degree days, and then one night, overnight, it dropped to 10 degrees. So the roses had not had a chance to go dormant before that happened, and it just killed them. It killed the tops. Now the roots, the Dr. Huey roots, were coming back, and I didn't want those. So yeah, if I'd had own root roses, the roses could have come back from the root, and they would have been the roses I had planted. So that's why I go with own root. Okay, so this will sit here on my back deck in the shade, where I can keep a close eye on it, and it should start throwing out new shoots really quick. So let me show you one that I just planted up. It came bare root, like this was now, once I dug it up, it was bare root. So that's what that means. It didn't have anything on it, but here. This is a rose I got in maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was a stick like this. And look at all these leaves it's putting on. This is my Juliet rose, and yeah, gorgeous, and I cannot believe the healthy leaves it's putting on. Now this one did get the organic rev, and so that could have helped it to really start producing canes and leaves right away. Now this one, I am thinking of planting in my artist's garden because I think it's the right color for there. Now, I would like to know from any of you who've grown Juliet, the David Austin Juliet rose, if the roses now hold up in the heat. And what I mean by the heat, direct sun in the summer. Does it get crispy? Does it just stay beautiful? Some roses, they get crispy, and it's not pretty. And so that tells me they need a little bit of afternoon shade in the hot summer days. And others will just fly right through it like no problem. Kind of like my arbor roses, Cortez arbor roses. They not only take some really cold temperatures and do beautifully, but they also, in the summer when it's hot, their roses just stay beautiful. Now my lavender lassie is one of them that turns crispy really easy in the heat. And so you don't get to enjoy your blooms during the summer very much. So that one I know I would plant where we'd get some afternoon shade. So you just learn the attributes of each rose, and then you can plant accordingly. So I'm unfamiliar with Juliet, so if any of you have grown it, please let me know how it holds up in the hot sun. Well, as hot as it gets here, you know, but because the artist garden in the midsummer gets pretty hot. It gets a lot of sun. So anyways, I can't wait for next summer. It's already got a bud. I can't believe it. If we have a long enough fall, warm enough fall, I'm gonna get a flower from this. That's amazing. I just planted this 2 weeks ago, and it was a stick. Oh, I hadn't looked at it that close. Wonderful. I'm amazed. I'm already impressed with this rose. Now, let me see. I will put a link to where I found this rose so that you can get one too if you want. Okay, so Now we're gonna go plant rainy blue where this one was. And I'm gonna go get another cage. I could use the cage I pulled off of this one, but I think I'm gonna use one of the mesh bags just because it would take me a little bit of work to get that one back together, though it worked really well. And it's just to keep the gophers from eating them. Now, many of my roses in my rose cottage garden do not have rose cages, and they're doing okay. I think I've got a handle on some of the gophers. But one year, they almost eliminated many of my roses in there, and I have a video and blog post, which the video is a little rough, on how to salvage a rose that they have chewed almost to a nub. In fact, the one that I shared, I think in the video, was chewed to a nub. There was no roots on it at all, and it rerooted. So yeah, you can go and watch that. I will try to remember to link it. If not, please remind me in the comments, and I'll put it in there. So let's go plant rainy blue. Alrighty, I got a little sidetracked. When I was digging or getting ready to dig to plant my rainy blue, I noticed a patch of daisies that I've been meaning to get dug up because they just got too thick. They were obscuring roses I wanted to be able to see. And as I got in there, I saw irises that needed to be pulled out. I saw foxglove seedlings that needed to be pulled out. And then the bare spot I left, I was trying to decide what I wanted to plant there. Now, my Coco Loco roses, I've been wanting to move up into the rose alley. And I was trying to decide if this was a good area. Now, they stay shorter in the container that I have them in because it's a very shallow container, but they are supposed to get 4 feet tall. And I was wondering if it would obscure this other rose that is going to go up the obelisk or what. And so I hate it. Do you ever have indecision where you're just not sure what you want to do? Then I thought, well, I could put them in one of them in a larger pot, plop it there and see if I like it there, and that would work. Yeah, but I just go through all the scenarios of why don't I just plant it in the ground and be done with it and let it go. I don't know. Those hummingbirds, they get pretty brave. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and get rainy blue planted because you know what? I could step over the ground cover roses to get to that spot where maybe I'll put a Coco Loco rose in a container. But also I was thinking in the big barrel with the love song rose, I could put one of the Coco Loco roses, but I don't know. I keep going back and forth. So I'm just gonna focus on what I decided to do today and I'm gonna get it done. Rainy blue. Here is rainy blue, and I got this, probably a month or so ago. I actually did an unboxing of it and I never did show it, but yeah, I think I'm gonna love this. The pictures of it are just gorgeous. So yes, I'm gonna put this down here beside this arbor and start training the vines. They're very pliable right now. They're very small. And up it and let it get started. I actually had started to think about getting a little bit larger container and then plopping that in the ground. And those have a little bit larger holes, and then the tap roots could go down through the bottom of the container rather than one of these mesh cages. I'm just not sure about them. But this Albertina is in a mesh container or a mesh cage, and it's doing just fine. So I shouldn't labor the point and just get it done. All right. So this is the mesh bag that is the gopher cage. So I'm going to dig the hole big enough that I could put this down in it. I will put some soil in it, then put rainy blue in there, and then refill it. That's the plan. So let's get rolling. Just double checking you could see. Let me get down here. And I will try not to get my head in the way. There's a rotting log I had used as edging. Okay. Get my shovel. Where did I put my shovel? Oh, right behind me. All right. Now this piece of a rose. This right here, I think is the fairy rose, or another ground cover rose. I cannot remember. But all getting down to the clay. Very clayey soil here. And okay, let's see. Get this down in there. Oh yeah. Got room to put some soil back in my mesh gopher cage. And then I will take rainy blue. I might even have to put some more. I want the cage to stick up a little bit like that one does, because gophers can climb over and sometimes do. But I think this will be fine. Usually they come from underneath a plant to eat the roots. So, yeah. So I'm gonna bury it back in there. Bury the bulbs while I'm at it. Don't want the strawberries in there. Alrighty. Again, if I had my organic Rev, I would definitely put it on here now. But I don't have any. I've got to get some more of that. This is golden feverfew. I've pulled it out a little bit here and there, and I need to put this one back. It spreads itself from seed, so I'm sure I'm going to get lots more. Here's some over here still. So it's no big deal if I dig up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to go get the hose. I'm going to water this in. And this poor Nepeta here kind of got beat up, but that's okay. It will recover. All right, I'm just going to cut it back a little bit, tidy it up. This is a division off of one I did over there. I think I have a video on dividing Nepeta. If not, I'll do one. I'll check that. Okay, now right here is a iris, but I'm not sure which color it is. I'd have to look at my iris tour that I did in spring. Okay, there we go. I'll decide later on what I'm going to do with the Coco Loco roses over there. And yes, I will remember that this is rainy blue. I don't have to put a marker in it, but that's going to be gorgeous. So right here, you can go ahead and weave it through this arbor, arbor. And this one I can bring over here too. So there we have it. It will start growing beautifully and fill in. I can't wait till next spring just to see it. But yeah, once I get my organic Rev, I'll make sure and give it a good dose of it. All right, off to get the hose. So I'll make sure I water it in gently. I want to get rid of any air pockets, but this soil's so loose, I doubt it made any. I'll make sure and pull up the other edge of that cage. Oh, there it is. I didn't see it at first. Okay. So it stays a little bit higher than the soil. And after a while, you don't even notice it sticking up. I'd have to really look for it. Alrighty, let that soak in, and I'll make sure tomorrow to come out and do this again. Make sure it's well soaked. So that, my friends, is my digging up of one rose, pulling it off the arbor, and replanting of another. So that's one thing beautiful about a garden. I'm watering a rose that I think looks a little dry. You can move things around. There's no static display. You don't have to leave it there. Like that Eden rose, I argued with myself for this whole season of whether I wanted to take it out. And yeah, it was just too rambunctious with the very rambunctious Albertine. And yeah, they just kind of competed too much. I think the rainy blue will be perfect. I will make sure and keep Albertine on its own side. And yeah, next spring ought to be gorgeous. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next time when I bring you back for more garden fun and or maybe just a chat. And soon we'll be talking in my greenhouse.